Ladies and gentlemen, I want to welcome you to our first live streaming, very well produced live streaming video. This will be a regular class starting on Mondays, and I'm very happy to say that we have it produced, live produced by our producer, Vernon. So I'm very happy to get started. In these classes, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to be doing everything I can to give you a wealth of information. And I'm also going to give you the ability to make a lot of money. In Pennsylvania, we're very lucky. We have a governor that is now allowing us to do live streaming real estate classes. In the state of Pennsylvania, you do have to take a 75-hour state mandated class before you are allowed to take the state exam. So we're lucky in Pennsylvania that we're allowed to offer a live streaming platform, just like you're looking at right now. So I will be your instructor. I'm the director of the school. You can ask me questions anytime you want. We'll go along topic by topic, just as if you were sitting in the classroom. You don't have to worry about traffic. You don't have to worry about parking. You don't have to worry about late being late or flat tire or anything like that. So we're very lucky to have the live streaming platform. And now that we are doing these classes live stream, I'm now doing these free classes live stream to get the word out that you can get yourself a real estate license in the state of Pennsylvania through this live streaming platform. So that's what we're going to be talking about today. I offer, my school is Online Real Estate School Incorporated. And you can find my school by going to onlinerealestateschoolinc.com, inc.com, onlinerealestateschoolinc.com. That is my school. I am registered with the state to offer these live streaming platforms. I am also 30 years in the business, ladies and gentlemen. I have a broker's license here in Pennsylvania, a real estate license here in Pennsylvania, an instructor's license in Pennsylvania, and I am the director of several real estate schools. I teach contract, I teach agents after they become licensed agents, and I teach pre licensing for those like yourself that would like to get a real estate license. I like to say, ladies and gentlemen, that once you have a real estate license, you have a ticket to ride. You should never be broke. You should never be unemployed again. Part-time real estate agents, and I call them weekend warriors because they only do open houses on the weekend. They only work Saturday and Sunday, and they make an extra $40,000 a year, anywhere from 20 to $50,000 a year. So on average, these weekend warriors make about an extra $40,000 on top of their regular income. I would never suggest that you quit your job to get into real estate. You can start real estate part time with that real estate license. And that's what I will encourage you and talk to you about in my class. Part time real estate agents who work evenings and weekends, they make about $40,000 to $60,000 a year. And us full time real estate agents, we easily break $100,000 a year easily. So it depends on you how much effort you want to put in. Do you want to just be a weekend warrior and do real estate on the side? Do you want to do investments? Do you want to help family members with their real estate? So everybody's going to have a different reason as to why you would like to learn real estate and get a license in real estate. And that's what I'm going to be talking to you about today, of how to obtain a real estate license. I'm also going to give you many pointers. You're going to learn real estate by the end of this class. I will teach you a few things about real estate in Pennsylvania that you might not have known. So stick around for the class. It's only an hour-long show. It will go fast, ladies and gentlemen, because it will be lively and entertaining. So as we go along, stick around and watch how much you learn. Have pen and paper ready. Certain things I'm going to have you write down just so you already learn what are some of the things that you're going to learn in my classroom if you decide to go for a real estate license. So, back to the basics. Governor Wolf in Pennsylvania has allowed us, and the Real Estate Commission has put together a new platform to allow this live streaming class, this 75-hour class. I offer two classes in order to become a licensed real estate professional. I offer a morning class Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursdays from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. Our next class starts on the 27th of this month. So, about a week and a half from now, our next class will begin. And each class is a 6 week class. So, our morning class, which is 9 a.m. to 1 p.m., Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday for 6 weeks, that will give you your 75-hour requirement. And we also have an evening class from 6 p.m. to 10 p.m. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday as well. That too will give you your 75-hour requirements after a 6 week period. In my class, not only am I going to teach you how to pass the real estate exam, I'm also going to teach you how to run a real estate business. This is what most schools won't do. So they'll teach you how to pass the exam. Then after you pass the exam, you say to yourself, now what? What do I do now? In my class, I'm going to teach you how to work with first-time buyers. First-time buyers don't care that you're a brand new agent. They don't care that you've been licensed a day, a week, a month. They're going to treat you like you've been in business for 30 years. So working with first-time buyers is going to be a very good ego boost to help you with your real estate business. So I'm going to show you. I'm also going to teach you how to negotiate with brokers, because the brokers will surely try to take advantage of you because you're new. So we'll talk about the different platforms that are available for your real estate business out there. So not only am I going to teach you how to pass the exam, I'm going to teach you how to run a real estate business. I'm also going to teach you how to invest in property. I've been investing in property since probably 30 years, the 1980s, when interest rates were 18 to 22%, ladies and gentlemen. Back then, when interest rates were 18 to 22%, we had to do a lot of creative financing, a lot of creative deal. Not everybody can get approved for a mortgage at 18 to 22%. And again, I'm going to tell you where the economy is going to be going in my class. You can expect to see interest rates go up again. Will it affect the real estate business? Yes and no. When I teach you how to operate in a real estate business, doesn't matter if the interest rates do go back to 18 to 22%. If you understand how to invest in real estate the way I'm going to teach you, purchase money mortgage, deed of trust, deed in trust, owner financing, you become the bank. When I teach you all these techniques in my class, then you're going to be a great investor and you're going to accumulate a large sum of money. One of the first things that I teach my students is how to be wealthy. The best way to be wealthy, ladies and gentlemen, is by not having any rent, no mortgage payment, no rent payment. If you can go month to month without a rent payment, without a mortgage payment, you are already wealthy. You are already healthier, no stress. Most of the time that we stress, we always stress the monthly mortgage, the monthly rent. How are we going to come up with the rent this month? It comes back around over. I just paid the rent and now it's due again. So one of the first techniques I'm going to teach you is how to buy a duplex. Live in one of the units free of charge, have your tenant pay the mortgage, and that'll be your first thing. We'll talk about the FHA mortgage and how to buy this investment property in my class. But one of the first things I like to teach my students is to eliminate rent, eliminate a mortgage payment, have no bills. Well, you'll have your gas and electric, but have no mortgage, no rent each month, and that will lead to a better life. Then I'm going to teach you residual income, how you have monthly income coming in every month. So this is the other things that I'm going to be teaching in my class. So recap, not only am I going to teach you how to pass the exam, I'm going to teach you how to run a real estate business. I'm going to teach you how to invest in property. I'm also going to teach you the easy way of doing math in my class. Math is very easy. We're always going to fear two things that my students always fear: math and testing. They get anxiety. Oh, I hate math. Well, right there's a trigger. So I'm going to teach you how easy math is through the three variables. Once I teach you the three variables, math is very, very easy. And I'm also going to teach long-term memory techniques in my class. This is one of the reasons that I have the highest pass-fail ratio of any school in Pennsylvania, because of the memory techniques that I teach. Now, me and my producer will be working on future shows that when I talk about these memory techniques, I like to show you a picture of the brain. There's two hemispheres of the brain, the right and the left. If you're right-handed, then you use the left hemisphere of your brain for logic, for reasoning, for understanding, for making sense. But the other hemisphere of the brain is used for art, creativity, art, music, poems, and so forth. And we very rarely use that hemisphere of the brain. As a matter of fact, our children are drugged up in school so that they may never use that part of their hemisphere of their brain. I think it's a crying shame. So once I teach you in my class how both hemispheres of the brains work and how you can start incorporating long-term memory techniques into your ability, then you will pass the exam very, very easily. The reason that people fail exams is because they only rely on short-term memory. And short-term memory will escape you, ladies and gentlemen. It's only going to last a minute, an hour, a day, maybe a week. And then once it's gone, it is gone forever. There's no retrieving. That's the problem with short-term memory. And this is why we struggle when we take exam, because we can't remember the answer because we only put it into our short-term database. We didn't put it into the long-term memory database. Once we can put it into the long-term memory database, it's like having a filing cabinet. You can open it up and pull out the answer anytime you want. So this would be one of the other techniques that I will be teaching you in my class. So again, not only am I going to teach you how to pass the exam, that'll be the easy part. I'm going to teach you how to run a real estate business. I'm going to teach you how to invest in property. I'm going to teach you the easy way of doing math, and I'm going to teach you memory techniques as we go along. Ladies and gentlemen, back to my speaker. Now, because I don't have green screen, you can probably see this very well. This is the manual that you're going to be getting, that we're going to use in our class. And as you can see, it's an Ernest Hemingway novel. Trying to read this thing by yourself and making sense of it is not an easy thing to do. This is why a lot of these online courses don't work for a lot of people, because they don't understand the language. Every profession has their language. Lawyers have their own internal language. Doctors have their own internal language. Insurance agents have their internal language, and real estate professionals have their internal language. And if you don't understand certain words, amortization, ad valorem, dedication, stuff like that, assessment, and so forth, then it's going to be hard for you to understand what you're reading. So in my class, not only am I going to go over and do most of the reading for you, I'm going to show you what to highlight, what notes to take, how to put everything into a plain language understanding so that you can understand exactly what we are reading, so that it's clear to you. The light bulb goes off. You understand exactly what this word means. What this about my class in a 6-week period is, we will be very redundant. In the first 3 days, things will seem a little difficult, but after that, it'll be redundant. You'll see that we'll be doing the same thing over and over again. And the reason for this redundancy is to make sure that it's solidified in your brain and that you are prepped and ready for the state exam. So we'll talk about that. Now, let's talk about price. My class in Pennsylvania is $399, and I am the least expensive real estate school in the state of Pennsylvania for a live streaming platform. So it's $399, and it comes with an ebook. However, none of my students like the ebook. Once again, they would prefer this big, thick, fat manual mailed to them so that they can highlight and take notes and go back. And I'll show you how to use this book so that it improves your memory technique as well. The ebook doesn't quite cut it. So if you want this manual mailed to you, then it will be another $30. So it would be $429 instead of the $399. And once again, ladies and gentlemen, $429, that still makes me the cheapest, the least inexpensive real estate school for a live streaming platform in the state of Pennsylvania. And again, I'll be working with my producer so that you can see my reviews. I always encourage everybody to please read my reviews. And my reviews are recent, old and recent. I've been doing this for quite a few years, but we just had a graduating class last week. So you'll see some of my reviews from some of my students who graduated my class last week. So you'll see new reviews as well as old reviews, and my reviews keep coming in. And I'm very happy about it. And I don't doctor the reviews. I've been very, very lucky so far. I haven't had a bad review. I'm sure the day will come. You can't make everybody happy, but so far I'm on a roll. 5 stars. Everybody's been very happy, and so no doctoring with my reviews. And I'll teach you, when I teach you how to run a real estate business, I'm going to teach you the art of reviews and how important it is not only to receive reviews, but to leave reviews. So I'm going to teach you things in my class that no other school will even come close to venturing in. And I managed to get it all done in the 75-hour time allotted that we have to work with, providing we don't have an overabundance of questions. I will always encourage you to ask questions in the class. Something you don't understand? Ask. This is the great thing about a live platform. It's as if you were sitting right in my classroom. So I wanted to start off with this first 15 minutes about talking about my school, Online Real Estate School Incorporated. No sales pitch, no up pitch. This is not a get rich scheme. This is about representing others. So when you take my class and you receive that golden ticket, a real estate license, you are now equipped to represent others in real estate. And this is going to give you a high esteem out there in the real estate world. To be known as a licensed professional in the state is high esteem, and you have a license to earn income. And so, again, it is a win-win situation for $429, ladies and gentlemen. I assure you, I bet you, I'll bet you right now, you probably lost that much one night at the casino and had nothing to show for it. After a night at the casino, there's $400 shot. What do you got? Here, you're investing in yourself, ladies and gentlemen. You will have education, you will have a real estate license, and you will have techniques that you can apply in your life so that you don't have rent. You know how to invest in property, you know how to have residual income, and better than that, you'll know how to represent others to help them with their dreams. This is a win-win-win platform. And I always encourage everybody, and this is why I'm doing these new shows with Vernon, my producer. And I always like to give out a shout out to the Gish Group. That's my producer, Vernon from the Gish Group, and we will be talking about him more towards the end of this show. But I'm very lucky to have a good producer producing the show, so that I can get the word out to you, ladies and gentlemen, that there's many of opportunities out there. Just because we're still officially in a pandemic, real estate is essential. Two things that people will always need in this life, no matter what happens: food and shelter. We're always going to need it. I don't care if it's a refrigerator box, I don't care if it's a tent. We still need shelter, no matter what. So, you got a product that will never be going out of style: real estate. We got properties that are over 200 years old in Philadelphia. They are still selling along Pine Street in Old City, Philadelphia, depending on what part of Pennsylvania you're coming from. Because I have an audience from Pittsburgh to Philadelphia and all points in between. So that's the great thing about my live streaming platform, is I don't have to be local. I'm in Philadelphia. So when I had just a school, only Philadelphia students could come. But now with this live streaming platform, you could be in Pittsburgh, you could be in Warren, you could be in Luzerne County, you could be in Scranton. And again, you are taking a Pennsylvania real estate class, not a local class. So you can attend this class from Philadelphia to Pittsburgh. And that's the word I'm trying to do. I am now at a point, ladies and gentlemen, where it's time for me to pay it forward. 30 years in this business, and I've made a name for myself. Now I'm paying it forward. I am now teaching others to do what I've learned over a 30-year period. And in a 6-week period, a 75-hour time zone together, wait do you see what you're going to learn. Wait do you see what you're going to accomplish. Take a look at my reviews. And I will have guest speakers soon. This is our very first live produced show, professionally produced. My producer will actually add in some guest speakers as we go along, because our show will be every Monday, starting on the 3rd, I believe it is. Hold on one second, let me see. Yeah, starting on the 3rd of every Monday thereafter will be this live streaming class. So if you know anybody that's interested in learning about real estate, then recommend a live show every Monday at 6 p.m. For right now, that's going to be the hours that our show will be. We might add another show because, again, as I said, I have a morning class and an evening class. And those who attend my morning class probably won't be able to attend my evening live streaming class on Monday. So I'll talk to my producer to see if we can do two different shows, a morning class and an evening show, because not everybody can do the evening. Some people are working 3 to 10, and they're missing this live streaming form. So I'll miss that audience unless me and my producer can figure out another way to accommodate the audience that can't be here right now on a live streaming platform, because they work 3 to 11, or 3 to 10, 3 to 11, something like that. They work third shift, second shift, and so forth. So as we produce and get better, I'll try to have a morning show and an evening show, depending on my producer and his time slot, and see what we can do to try to accommodate everybody. So as of right now, ladies and gentlemen, I'm looking forward to our new show every Monday, which will be live streaming on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, YouTube, Instagram, and probably even a Zoom platform if need be. So we'll work it all out as we go along, but I'd like to have as many avenues open for this live streaming show, so that from here to Pittsburgh, everybody can enjoy the show. even if they're working and they can't make the 6 p.m. show. Hopefully, we can do another show down the line. Now, that gives you the nuts and bolts of what is in it for you, ladies and gentlemen. It's a 429 investment, but you're going to learn a lot. You're going to have a golden ticket, a license to make money in the state of Pennsylvania. You will be known as a licensed real estate professional, and it's going to change your world. It's going to put you on a whole different path. So if you ever decided to make an investment, investing in yourself will always be the number one recommendation that I would make. Before you invest in another company, invest in yourself. This would be a great investment. Let me give you a little idea of what you're going to be learning in my classroom. Here's a question I always ask my students. If you buy a property here in Pennsylvania and you get a 30-year mortgage on that property, do you own that property day one, the first day, or do you own that property 30 years later when you make your final payment? Think about that for a second. What do you think the answer is? Do you own that property day one here in Pennsylvania, or do you own it 30 years later when you make your final payment? The answer, ladies and gentlemen, is day one. And what you'll learn in my schools, we have lien theory states and title theory state. Pennsylvania is a lien theory state, which means the bank only has a lien against the property. So what? You got a 30-year mortgage. I'm going to teach you not to get the mortgage and the deed confused. They're two instruments. The deed means you own the property. The mortgage means you have a loan on the property. So, in Pennsylvania, and this is what you'll need to know as a real estate agent because you're representing your buyers, and when those buyers go to the settlement table, they're going to get the deed to that new property day one. The deed will be in their name, the new buyers. The mortgage will be for 30 years, but they got the deed, they own the property. In a lien theory state like Pennsylvania is a lien theory state, the bank only has a lien against the property. It is a collateral. So if you don't make your payments, the bank has a right to foreclose. The bank doesn't want your property. The bank doesn't want your property. The government doesn't want your property. We'll talk about these things in my class. What the bank wants is ka-ching, ka-ching, their money. They lent you money. They want their money back. So the mortgage, and the mortgage is the right to foreclose. We'll talk about that. You get a mortgage and a note. So whenever anybody says I got a mortgage on my property, what you're saying is I gave the bank permission to take my property back. That's what a mortgage is. The legal right for the bank to foreclose on your property. So we'll talk about the difference between a mortgage and a note in my class. But the mortgage is the collateral that the bank has to take your property if you don't make the payments. But the deed is in your name. And this presents a problem, ladies and gentlemen, for investors who would like to be buying bank REOs or foreclosed property. Well, the problem is the bank doesn't own those properties. They took it back as collateral. And you're going to have to understand, especially as a real estate agent or as an investor, what you're getting from the bank. You're going to be getting a quit claim deeded property that says the bank doesn't own the property. So you're not even going to have good title to the property that you bought at auction or foreclosure because the bank is not the owner. So we'll talk about this in my class. So the very first thing that I always teach my student is the deed, the deed, the deed. And that will register over and over and over again, ladies and gentlemen. The deed, the deed, the deed. The deed is the ownership. And we'll talk about the difference between deed and title. All right? Because people get that confused all the time. What's the difference between a deed and the title? Real simple. If you're writing this down, the deed is the written instrument. The deed is the written instrument. That is what you're going to get when you buy the property. You're going to get the deed. Title is the process of making sure the deed is good. Title search, title report, title insurance. So title is a process of making sure the deed is good. The deed is the written instrument. We sell property by deed. We don't sell property by title. We sell cars by title, but we sell property by deed. So the deed, the deed, the deed. And again, here in Pennsylvania, ladies and gentlemen, remember, you get the deed day one. So what? You got a 30-year mortgage. It has nothing to do with the ownership of the property. That is just a loan against the property. So I'm going to teach you the difference between a deed and a mortgage. And I'm going to teach you how to invest in property and represent others by knowing these things, knowing the difference between a deed and a title. Let me ask you another question that you will learn in my school, in my class. Unilateral and bilateral. Unilateral means one party signs, not one person. One party, maybe husband and wife are selling the property. That's one party. So unilateral means one party. Bilateral means two parties. Is the deed a unilateral contract or a bilateral contract? As you will learn in my class, the deed is a unilateral contract, ladies and gentlemen. Here in Pennsylvania, only the seller sign the deed. The buyer does not sign the deed. The buyer will sign the deed 30 years later when they go to sell the property, or 10 years later when they go to sell the property, whatever the situation may be. But only the seller signs the deed in Pennsylvania. So these things, the difference between deed and mortgage, the difference between deed and title, who signs the deed, who doesn't sign the deed, these are things that you're going to learn in my class so that you may represent others and know the answer to all these. Like first time buyers, ladies and gentlemen, do you know that most renters need first, last, and a month security to get a new property? And at $1,000 a month, first, last, and a month security, most renters will need $3,000 to rent a new property. But do you know for another $500, $3,500, those renters could buy a property, a nice 3-bedroom home with a yard, maybe a garage, and all they need is $3,500 to buy that property? No, they don't know these things. When I teach you how to market to first-time buyers and explain to the renters that they can easily become homeowners, first-time home buyers under an FHA mortgage. We'll talk about FHA, VA, conventional, and cash. We'll talk about all those things in my class, amongst other mortgages that are available for investors. But for the most part, most first-time buyers are going to be getting an FHA, Federal Housing Administration mortgage. And we'll talk about which one's insured, which one's guaranteed, who makes the loan, who doesn't make the loan. We'll talk about these things in my class. But a first-time buyer probably doesn't know. They only need first, last, and a month security to buy their new property. And you, as a licensed real estate professional, getting the word out to them, telling them that they can come to you to buy their next property with first, last, and a month security, even if they don't even have any money in their checking account. I'll show you. They do have to have 2 years on the job. But what if they have no money in their checking or savings account? Can they still buy a property? The answer is yes. The answer is absolutely yes. As a matter of fact, they're probably sitting on the money. Sitting on the money, they don't even know they're sitting on the money. That's what I'll teach you in my class. Just like retired people. Retired people are sitting on a load of money. They just don't know they're sitting on it. And so we'll talk about that in my class. And so you're going to see, as a licensed real estate professional, you can make many people homeowners who didn't even know they could become homeowners because they had no money saved up. No problem. I guarantee you, they got 2 years on the job. They have the money. They just don't know that they have the money, but they do have the money. So I'll teach all these things in my class. So you're going to get a wealth of information in my class, as you already seen. Then we're going to talk about other things like the general warranty deed, the special warranty deed, the bargain and sale deed. That's what you get when you buy property at auction. We'll talk about the auction properties, what you're actually buying at auction in Philadelphia, Scranton, and Pittsburgh. You better know the caveats of auction property, Philadelphia, Scranton, and Pittsburgh, compared to all the counties. It's completely different in Philadelphia, Scranton, and Pittsburgh. So when you buy auction property, you better know what you're buying. We'll talk about the tax sale. We'll talk about the foreclosure auction. That's the bargain and sale deed. Then we'll talk about the quit claim deed, the deed where you just got suckered out of your money. And we'll talk about that, because that's the one thing that you won't ever want to do, is buy property by a quit claim deed, because the quit claim deed doesn't transfer ownership. It only transfers an interest. And all my students understand this. So all this knowledge that you're going to gain in my class, the knowledge that you've already gained in the last couple of minutes, just gives you a taste, a feel of the wealth of information, the 30 years of experience that I have, that I am going to share with you in this 75-hour class. This will be the best investment you ever made in yourself. And if you don't believe me, just read the reviews. There's not a single student unhappy. Not a single student went wrong by recommending the class. Everybody that ever recommended the class has been extremely happy with the results. I've had students say they spent many years in college. I've had college students who were in college still taking my class and said that this was the best class they've ever had. So I've designed the class. The live streaming platform is good for me. Ladies and gentlemen, I have been talking to you for 30 minutes now, and nothing's polished, nothing's written, it's all off the cuff. Have you heard me once say, no. And I'm going to teach you templates. You don't need to have scripts. You don't need to have everything written down. You just need to have templates, bullet points, things that you can work with. And now it comes off the cuff. And now you'll know exactly. I can answer just about every question that comes my way because I've heard the questions already. As a matter of fact, I can lead the question. I can lead. My conversation will lead you to ask me a certain question that I knew you were going to ask me. We're going to talk about psychology. Psychology plays a big role in this business. For instance, you have a husband and wife that are buying a property. Who's your buyer, the husband or the wife? Well, ladies and gentlemen, chances are it's going to be the wife. Women like kitchens and bathrooms and closets. That's what the women like. Men like yards, basement, garages, man caves. So two different hemispheres of the brain there as well. Women work with the frontal lobe of the brain. That's why they're very sensitive to smell and taste. But men work with the back of the brain, and we're not very sensitive to these things. So we definitely have different thinking process. So I'm going to teach you that a psychology is going to go a long way. Just like location, location, location. Some people are willing to pay 30, 40, $50,000 more for a property only because even though it's an identical property, it's in another location and they believe that this location is a better location. So psychology, they believe that this location is better, they're willing to pay more. So we'll talk about psychology. We'll talk about these templates that I was just talking to you about, and we'll talk about how you can continue to know your business, to talk to your clients. If you're an introvert, you will have to learn to be an extrovert because I am an introvert. When I'm not working, ladies and gentlemen, hardly have a peep out of me. I don't know, hardly even talk to my neighbors. Hi, goodbye, if that at all. So I'm an introvert when I'm not working. But when I'm working, ladies and gentlemen, I am an extrovert. And I can talk to you for an hour. I still got about another 25 minutes to go. And so the first half hour is done. No pauses on my part. Got my first two bullet points out. I explained to you some of the things that we're going to see in the class. I explained why and how you have to get a license in Pennsylvania. And now what the real estate business looks like. Let's talk about this right now, ladies and gentlemen. What the real estate business looks like. In Pennsylvania, in Tennessee, in Florida, the market is on fire. In New York and New Jersey, not so good. You got an exodus out of those states because of the COVID restrictions, because of the SALT tax, because of the different tax reforms that are no longer beneficial. And business is not doing well under leadership in New York and New Jersey. Sorry to say, facts are facts, and they sometimes get in the way with other things. So, facts are facts. So, Pennsylvania, the market is on fire right now. We do not have, we'll talk about supply and demand. We do not have enough supply. We have a lot of demand. Many people want to buy property, but we don't have a lot of supply of property available. And we don't have a lot of good real estate agents out there. We'll talk about the 80-20 rule, ladies and gentlemen. 80% of the real estate agents are only doing 20% of the work. 20% of the real estate agents are doing 80% of the work. I'm going to teach you in my class to be one of the 20%, not the 80%. The 80% are not making any money. The 20% are making the money. And so I'm going to teach you how to be a 20% real estate agent in my business, in my school, and make you successful. So, Pennsylvania's on fire. Let's take it the other coast. California, no good. Mass exodus out of California. As a matter of fact, they're trying to replace the population altogether there in California. I try to remain unpolitical, but you will understand in this class, we're going to be talking about federal law, state law, and local law. And even though we won't be talking about presidents, they come and go, we will be talking about the law. Because we are licensed real estate professionals, we are under the compliance, fair housing laws, equal opportunity, non-discriminatory policies. So we would have to follow federal law, state law, and local law. And so I'll be teaching these things in my business. So sometimes it will get a little political because sometimes it's unavoidable. But I'll do the best I can to avoid political. We live in a very sensitive society. People are easily offended today. And we're going to talk about this because you work with the public. I am a millennial. I'm sorry, I'm a baby boomer. I'm a baby boomer. There is baby boomer generation, Generation X, Generation Y, two recessions in that generation, and now the millennial generation. So since every 10 years is a generation, we have a different upbringing, a different class of people. So as a licensed real estate professional, you're probably going to be dealing with the millennial generation. Unless you like the 55 and over community, the 62 and over community, ka-ching, ka-ching, a lot of money in that business. We'll talk about that in my class as well. Then you'll be dealing with baby boomers, Generation Xers. Otherwise, you'll be dealing with Generation Y and millennial generation. And so you have to understand that each one needs to be catered to in a different way. So this is what I'll be teaching you in my school. I'll also teach you psychology on how to deal with the different generations so that you can be a 20% real estate agent and not an 80. One size does not fit all, ladies and gentlemen. So understand that Pennsylvania, the market's doing good. Arizona, Texas, the market is on fire right there. So depending on the state, talks about the real estate business. And what I'm going to talk to you about is Pennsylvania, supply and demand. We do not have enough supply. We have more demand. So we got 5 buyers for every property on the market. This is why we got a bidding war going on. And this is why we have multiple offers on properties right now because of supply and demand. We have more demand than we have supply. And so since we're limited in our supply, and if we had more better real estate agents that could get more listings and get more supply, then we would be okay. But 80% of the real estate agents that we have right now, ladies and gentlemen, were taught in a real estate school how to pass an exam, but they were never taught how to run a real estate business. So now we got 80% of those real estate agents that got a real estate exam, they passed their test, but they don't know how to run a small business. They don't know how to run a real estate business. And so that's where my school excels, shines, and you'll see that in the review. I'll teach you how to work with brokers. I'll teach you how to work with first-time buyers. I'll teach you how to work with investors. I'll teach you in my class how to run a real estate business. That is the most successful part of my school. I'm not just teaching you how to pass an exam. Any school can do that. And I do say any school could probably do that. Some schools can hardly even do that, to be honest with you. So I'm very lucky to have the gift that God has given me to pay it forward, to give you my vast amount of experience and knowledge so that you can boost your real estate business quickly after you pass the state exam. Oh, by the way, the state exam is $49, ladies and gentlemen. My class is $429. To qualify you to take the state exam, you need the transcripts and the attendance sheet. Harrisburg has to have the attendance sheet and the transcripts saying that you were in my class for 75 hours. You passed my 2 class exams. My 2 class exams are prep exams for the state exam. And once you pass my class exam, now you are qualified to take the state exam for $49. The minute, the minute that you pass the state exam, you are now a licensed real estate professional in the state of Pennsylvania, ladies and gentlemen. So all this can happen within the next month and a half. You can have a ticket to ride, a golden ticket, and wait till you see the money we're going to make in this business. We're going to talk about that in 1 second. So the real estate business is very, very good here in Pennsylvania. It is on fire. If you can't make money today in real estate, it's because you're not getting off the sofa. You're not making any effort. Even though you got a license, the money doesn't come into your mailbox until I teach you how to make that money come in your mailbox once in every month. Every month, residual income. That's what we want in this business. But if you don't get off the sofa and do anything, so what? You're a licensed professional. Doesn't matter. You didn't put any effort into it. So I'm going to teach you how to do all that. And you know what we always put our efforts into, ladies and gentlemen? We always put our efforts into excuses. Well, I can tell you why I didn't do it this time. I can tell you why, I'm a little apprehensive. I never did it before. I'm a little scared. I don't really want to do this. I feel uncomfortable. I've heard it all before, ladies and gentlemen. Excuses, excuses, excuses. Don't pay the bills. Doesn't make us any better. So let's stop wasting our effort in excuses and start putting our efforts into making some money. Real estate. Two things that millionaires, billionaires, and trillionaires all have in their portfolio. Real estate is one of them, and liquid money, gold, silver is always a emergency backup. I'm a gold bug. I have to buy gold every month. Have to. It's ridiculous, but uh, again, as I said, just like Bitcoin, cryptocurrency, which will probably be faded out in time, especially when regulations start coming into it, and it could be shut off like that, and could be taken like that. Gold and silver will always be around, ladies and gentlemen, from biblical times and real estate. Even in the Great Depression, bankers in real estate have always been making money. And we'll talk about the banks in my class who really run the show, who really run the world. Government does not run the world, the banks run everything. So we'll talk about that in my class as well. But again, Pennsylvania market is on fire. The New Jersey market, the New York market, it's sporadic and it's wild, wild west stuff out there. It's not as uniformed as Pennsylvania. So it's a tough market to survive in because of the haphazardness of the contracts that are used in New Jersey and in New York. But Pennsylvania, we are very uniform. Everybody uses the same contracts. We all understand what the contract means. Oh, that's another thing, ladies and gentlemen. When you have a real estate license in Pennsylvania, that license will allow you to do residential and commercial. You don't need a separate real estate license. So one license will allow you to legally venture into residential and commercial. And we'll talk about that as well in my class. All right, ladies and gentlemen. So that goes with some of our topics that we've had so far. Learn how to obtain a real estate license, which I told you, it's a 75-hour class. Facts about real estate. I gave you a few facts. The difference between title and deed, the difference between a deed and a mortgage, the difference between a general warranty, a special warranty, a bargain and sale deed, and a quick claim deed. And we talked a little bit about auctions, tax sale auctions, and foreclosure auction. We'll go into great detail about these in my class. And now, income earned. Since this is our first show, I usually have not a PDF, a Word file, where I can usually show you how much money you can make in the real estate business. But since this is our first produced show, we don't have all the kinks worked out yet, and that's my fault. I should have told my producer about this. I didn't. So what I'm going to do is just give you guys some round numbers so that you can understand. Now, average commission. We'll talk about that there is no standard commission in the real estate business. Your commission has to be negotiated. I'll teach you how to negotiate commission in my class. But let's just take, and I'll teach you to stay away from these $100,000 properties. These $100,000 properties don't really produce a lot of money. But when we get in the business, we're afraid to venture into the five, six, $700,000 properties immediately. You shouldn't be. You're going to see even in Kensington, properties are going for over $200,000, $300,000 in Kensington. Our average sale price in Philadelphia right now, ladies and gentlemen, is $280,000. And I'm going to have to get used to the average price because I'm going to be talking to students from Pittsburgh to Philadelphia. And I'm so platformed to Philadelphia because that's what I've done the last 3 years, use Philadelphia as a format. But now that we're doing live streaming, my students are going to be from all over Pennsylvania. I'm going to have to get used to using other reference points. But Kensington is an area in Philadelphia that is in a rehabilitation stage. It's up and coming. It's some of our lowest parts of Philadelphia and some of our highest points of Philadelphia. And it's coming from the Girard Avenue down to the Lehigh Avenue a corridor. And you can start seeing some of that new development on Lehigh Avenue. On one side of Lehigh Avenue, on the Kensington side, is residential. On the other side of Lehigh Avenue, on the Kensington side, is commercial. So you can see new development. You got what is it, U-Haul developing on one side of Lehigh Avenue, and you got a new multi-family apartment complex on the other side of Lehigh Avenue. Eventually, Kensington and Allegheny, which is right now probably the lowest point that it's ever been, will be the richest part of Philadelphia once again. And we'll talk about this. We'll talk about how I know this. I can tell you what's going to happen 3 to 5 years in the real estate business from now. And I'll talk about the crystal ball. I'll tell you what resources that we're going to go to so you know what's going to happen 3 to 5 years from now. All right? That's the key to being in a real estate investment, knowing what's going to be happening. All right, you ever hear people always say, "Oh, if I knew that this was going to happen in this area, I would have invested in those properties a long time ago." When those properties were only $35,000, little did I know they're going to be $300,000 today. Well, ladies and gentlemen, with the crystal ball that I'm going to show you, the legal way of using an entity that already exists, but most people don't know it exists, to know what new development is going to be coming down the pike. I'm going to show that to you in my class. So these are other avenues that I'm going to be giving you so you know where to invest in property from here to Pittsburgh, where the new development is going to be taking place, when the new development is going to be taking place. How would you like to know that new development is going to be taking place 2 years from now, 3 years from now? How would you like to have that kind of information? Now you can start buying some land, buying some investment property, knowing the anticipation of new development that's going to be coming down the pike 2 years from now, 3 years from now. So we'll talk about that in my class. I'll give away those little secrets as well. So income earned. Let's take $100,000 property. Let's say that you just did a 6% commission. That's $6,000, ladies and gentlemen, for a day's worth of work. Now, in my situation, I usually use I'm $300,000 to $500,000 price range. 700,000. I just sold a $700,000 property not too long ago. So let's just take a $600,000 property, ladies and gentlemen. And again, that's not far fetched. And this times that by 6%. Ladies and gentlemen, just one deal, $36,000. How many of them a year do you need to do? If you made $36,000 on the sale of one property, a $600,000 property, let's do it a reasonable. I told you the average sales price of Philadelphia is $280,000. Let's take a $280,000 property, multiply that by 6%. We'll talk about the different 4%, 6%, 10%, 8%. Oh, we'll talk about that. I'm just giving you a number, 6%. That is almost $17,000, ladies and gentlemen. That one sale in Philadelphia, $280,000 property at 6% is $16,800 commission. How many of them do you want to do a year? Let's say you do 10 of them a year. You just made yourself over $100,000, ladies and gentlemen. 168,000 to be exact, because you did 10 sales this year of $280,000 properties, and that's an average property, $280,000. Doing 10 sales is not hard. I got some agents that could do 10 sales in a 90-day period, let alone a whole year. And then there are other agents that can't do 10 deals in a whole year. The 80-20 rule, I talked to you about that. So it depends on you, ladies and gentlemen, how much you want to do, how much money you want to make. And again, as I said, if you got a full-time job, you're going to keep that full-time job. Start real estate on a part-time basis. And then once your real estate business gets to a certain level, then you might want to consider leaving your full-time job. But I would never advise you to leave your full-time job to start real estate. All right? And we'll talk about this in the class. Again, you got benefits with a job, and that's what we do. We work a job for the benefits, not for the money. So the health insurance, the life insurance, the dental plan. So if you have a full-time job with benefits, ladies and gentlemen, I would suggest that you keep your full-time job for the benefits and make a lot of money on top of the money that you're making with your job. So it'd be nice to make an extra $20,000 to $40,000 a year on top of what you're making already. But without that real estate license, ladies and gentlemen, none of it's possible. None of this can happen without the real estate. You'll see, you can't practice real estate without a license. It is a criminal offense to be practicing real estate without a license. And you see some of these gurus, they call themselves schooling, technique schooling, investor schooling, real estate schooling. Well, schooling means they can't call themselves a school because they're not licensed by the state to be a school. So they have to call themselves something other than a school. So right then and there, There's a technique that you should learn right there, ladies and gentlemen. Don't be investing in something that's not a licensed school. It's not a licensed facility. So if they don't have no real estate license, they call themselves licensed professional, but yet they show no license, and they can't call themselves a school because they're not licensed by the state. So they're a schooling. They're going to school you right out of your money. So when people talk about flipping properties, we'll talk about it. You can't flip properties today, ladies and gentlemen. There's no such thing as a no money down deal. It doesn't exist. It doesn't exist in the state of Pennsylvania. I'll show you why it doesn't exist in the state of Pennsylvania in my class. So there's no such thing as a no money down deal. Doesn't exist. And there's no such thing as a same day flip where you could do an assignment and take $5,000 in between one deal and another deal. You could do it, but it's illegal. And the title companies are putting a stop to it. And now, how soon can you flip a property after you bought it? You're going to find out. Chances are you won't be able to flip that property for 90 days. Once again, the title company will not transfer the deed. So there's no such thing as a same day flip, buy it today, sell it tomorrow. All that crap is to hustle you out of your money, to get you to buy books, seminars, tapes, stuff like that. I'm going to teach you the real ethical, legal way of doing everything compliant by federal, state, and local law. And having that real estate license is the beginning of your whole new journey, a new lifestyle, ladies and gentlemen. So the reason that I'm doing these live streaming platforms is to introduce to you a new world that you can easily become a part of and change your lifestyle. Make some of your dreams come true, ladies and gentlemen. So, again, look at the money that you can make in the real estate business. Even if you only took a $100,000 property, you could easily make a 6% commission off of that. Now, we'll talk about, because I'm 100% commission with my broker. My broker doesn't get any of my money, but most brokers would want to take a piece of your pie. Most brokers will try to take 50%, 40% of your pie, the money that you've earned. Why should that happen? Well, because you're green. You don't know any better. You thought that that's what's the way it was supposed to be. But not when you come to my class, ladies and gentlemen. When you come to my school, I'll teach you exactly how to negotiate so that you keep most of all of your money. And you have techniques. You know how to negotiate. You know what to expect. So, my next class starts on the 27th, ladies and gentlemen. Invest in yourself. Spend this money, invest in yourself, get that real estate license, get this knowledge that I'm going to share with you, and wait till you see how your world is going to change. I'm telling you, within the first 5 years after you got that real estate license, your whole world's going to change. You're going to accomplish things you never thought. You never thought you would take this road. You never thought that these opportunities would have come available to you. But you took a free class one day. You went to a free live streaming class. They told you to sign up to get a real estate license. You took a chance. You ventured in. You got a real estate license, and it was never the same after that. Life was always better. Income always came in. You just learned so much from this class. Even this new live streaming platform that we're going to be doing every Monday. I'm hoping my producer likes the show that we did today. And it's interesting because I don't get to see it. So I'm not actually getting to see the show. I'm talking to a computer monitor. So I don't really have too many distractions. I'm not trying to fiddle around with things, trying to show you things. So I love having a producer. So once again, that is my reminder to let you know that this show is professionally produced by the Gish Group, ladies and gentlemen. I want to introduce Vernon, my producer. I'm very happy to have Vernon, and he could be located at info@gishgroup.com. That is his email, ladies and gentlemen. So if you're looking to have any live streaming classes put together or live streaming platforms and you need somebody to help produce a show, may I recommend Gish Group, GISHGROUP, Gish Group for production. I'm very happy to have Vernon as my producer doing this show, and I'd like to give a shout out to Gish Group for producing this show. Ladies and gentlemen, our show is about to wrap up. We'll probably be having another free class on Thursday this week. I'll talk to my producer to see if we can make that a morning class, to see if we can accommodate those who cannot make the evening class. And then we're going to have our show, the free real estate class every Monday, starting on the 3rd, I think it was. I said the 3rd? Yeah. And then every Monday thereafter, we will be having our free real estate show. And each show, I'm going to produce more and more tidbits of information. So if you know anybody that would be interested in real estate, please recommend the show. We will be getting the word out by email, by text, and by social media platforms about the show every Monday. And if you know anybody, tell them to tune in. I hope you enjoyed the show, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you found the show informative. I hope you were inspired by some of the things that you will be learning in my school. And I'm hoping to see you in my class on the 27th, either my morning class or my evening class. I do recommend, ladies and gentlemen, that if you're going to sign up for the 27th class, that you try to make your enrollment by the 24th or the 25th at the latest, because I need to mail out your manual, and I can overnight it, but I want to make sure that you do have your manual in time for first day of class. The classes will be conducted by a Zoom platform. So every day you will be getting an email from me with your link, your meeting ID, and your login. And we'll talk about how you have to use the meeting ID and the login. So I have a attendance sheet to give to Harrisburg to show that you were present in my classes. So we'll talk about that in the classroom as well. But the classes will be by Zoom platform. Everybody's using Zoom today. It's a very easy platform to work with. I just about everybody, every student has been able to use the Zoom platform. I've not had one single student, and you could use it by phone, so you could take the class by your phone, by your desktop, by your iPad, whatever you want. As long as you have the Zoom on it, you can attend the class. And that's the other beauty about live streaming. You could still be in your car going from one location to another and attend the class. Now, of course, it's a little difficult to take notes and highlights while you're driving. However, some of my students are so busy with businesses and life that sometimes they do have to take part of the class in their car until they reach their destination, and then they can start taking notes. And you'll see our students do share notes with everybody as well. So it's a very interactive platform and environment that we're going to be working with. So, ladies and gentlemen, we are down to the witching hour. I got to get used to looking at the clock. I see that our hour is up. I want to thank you for tuning into this free live streaming class of Online Real Estate School Incorporated. You can find us at onlinerealestateschoolinc.com, and I'll go to my website. Please read my reviews, and I'm looking forward to making you a real estate agent in 2021. Be safe, be healthy, and be happy. Thank you for tuning in. Enjoy your evening. Vernon, how was it, brother? I forgot I had it on. So, Vernon, can you hear me? Okay, very, very good. So, what did you think of the show?